I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For the roll call, Director Barnes and Director Beck are not in attendance tonight. Director Potts may be joining us online later. And Director Yankee, would you please read the mission and vision statement?
Mission statement: the Davenport Community School District is dedicated to growing excellence in academics, the arts, and athletics for every child, ensuring the highest quality education in an environment shaped by our diverse community, preparing our students to be lifelong learners and productive citizens. Vision statement: education that challenges conventional thinking, prepares all students to compete in a global society, and inspires our students, parents, staff, and community to answer the question, what if?
Thank you. Director Hayes, would you please read the guiding principles?
Yes, I'll be happy to. Guiding principles: opportunity. We provide abundant opportunities to empower students to reach their full potential academically, creatively, and socially. Collaboration: we foster an environment that allows students, families, and community shareholders to come together for the betterment of our students' education and future. Transparency: we share relevant and important information with our students, families, and the community to maintain open and productive communication.
Thank you. Superintendent, would you please read the goal?
Tonight we're going to focus on goal 1, enhance student learning, student achievement, and goal number 4, foster the innovative use of finance facilities, staff, finance facilities, and
Thank you. Are there any board reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to open forum. Open forum is a time for members of the community to give input at a board meeting regarding school district issues or concerns. Individuals who want to speak, please fill out an open forum request and give it to the board secretary prior to open forum. The form is available in hard copy for in-person attendees or on the school board page of the district's webpage for those who want to participate virtually. Virtual participants must email their request to board comments at mail.davenport.k12.ia.us by 3 p.m. on the day of the board meeting. The board will not act on any issue presented during open forum if it was not published as an agenda item. Iowa Open Meetings Law prohibits actions on any issue that is not on the agenda. The president may set the amount of time allowed for individuals to speak. It will be 2 minutes. The board asks that no charges or complaints be made against individual employees of the district or community. Remarks that reflect negatively on the character or motives of any person will be called out of order. You will be asked to state your name and home address prior to making remarks. Please note that the board meetings are recorded and the recordings are available online. First up, is it Kyan Simpson? Please state your name and address. It's okay. Oh, somebody else go first? Sure. Next up will be Hunter Greer. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was an R or an N.
My name is Hunter Greer. I live at 1222 East Dover Court. I've come today in order to address the issue on many students' minds throughout the past school year, the change to the 8-period schedule. Having had a year to personally collect accounts, witnesses, and have my own experiences with the schedule, I can say very confidently that it should be changed back as quickly as possible. The reason for the schedule change, according to multiple news outlets across the Quad Cities, was so that the school district would be able to save over $1 million due to the ability to work with less teachers and other faculty members throughout the building. And in a statement from the district given to WQAD, they stated that neither schedule has any respective proven benefits for students' education. However, that statement specifically is something I would like to address. While you may not be able to cite any study that gives one schedule any respective benefit to the other, I can say from personal experience that the transition to the 8-period schedule from the block schedule has drastically increased the stress, workload, and just overall hardship of school for many of my peers. And more specifically, the effect comes into play in CTE classes like welding or automotive. Comparing my time between being a basic MIG welding student during the block schedule and being a teacher's assistant for basic MIG welding during the 8-period schedule, I have seen a very noticeable increase in the amount of kids slacking off, frankly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Jolie Sullivan.
Hi, my name is Jolie Sullivan. I live at 6633 Loring Court. Good evening. My name is Jolie Sullivan, and I'm an incoming junior at Davenport Central High School. I currently hold 6 school records, and I'm a multi-state placer between cross country and track. If I would have had the opportunity to compete at the high school level in 8th grade under the new Iowa law passed allowing 8th graders to compete in high school sports competition, I most likely would have achieved all this success and much more sooner due to the extra exposure to the sport. Our running programs at Davenport Central High School, along with various other sports programs in the district, have focused on building relationships with these middle schoolers, some of which would thrive with the opportunity to compete at the high school level in 8th grade. By not taking advantage of this new state law passed, we are not only putting these 8th grade student athletes at a disadvantage, we are putting full programs at risk of losing valuable athletes and students. I say this because other districts are approving 8th graders to be pulled up to all varsity sports, which may sway these athletes to go to those schools instead due to not being given the same opportunities in our district. To conclude, I just want to emphasize the importance of the district rethinking this decision in order to maintain a culture of growing excellence. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, Joel Sullivan.
Hello, my name is Joel Sullivan, 6633 Lorton Court, Davenport. I've had 2 graduates from the Davenport Community School Districts, one that is currently going to be a junior this fall. I'm here to give my input on the topic of 8th graders being allowed to compete in varsity sports for Davenport Community School Districts. I believe I'm in a unique position to have some input on this topic. My son Maddox was a 2024 graduate from Davenport Central and was a 5-year varsity starter on the baseball team. Since the state has always allowed 8th graders to compete with the high school baseball and softball teams in Iowa. Having this experience as an 8th grader, I believe it prepared him better for his high school career on a level of maturity and responsibility. This led him to be a leader for multiple years on the baseball team, and now this fall he will be a Division I baseball player at the University of Louisiana Lafayette. My daughter Jolie is an incoming junior this fall at Davenport Central High School. Her academic and athletic career is off to a great start. She has been a multiple-time place winner in track and cross country at the state meets. If this rule would have been in place when she was in 8th grade, I would have been in favor of her. I would have been in favor of it, as she is talented enough to compete at the varsity in the state level in cross country and track and field. Her 8th grade year, she won her races in a non-competitive fashion and was never challenged at that level in junior high. I believe it was last fall when students were invited to a roundtable discussion here with the district AD and you guys, how to make Davenport Community School Districts more competitive and to increase participation. This rule, in fact, would make some of these teams directly more competitively instantly. Also, with other schools in the Quad City area allowing 8th graders to compete at the varsity level, this will be used as a recruiting tool to go after our best athletes, promising them playing time and a spot on the varsity as an 8th grader. As we already are being plundered by surrounding school districts for our best athletes, this would just be another route for them to go after them. At the end of the day, we are looking at maybe a handful of student athletes that would be in the mix to contribute at a varsity level. This would take some planning between the coaches, parents, and administrators, but it can be done. The easy thing for the board to do is say no and continue on with the status quo and see our student athletes.
Thank you. Next up, TJ Pearson.
Good evening. My name is TJ Pearson. I live at 2824 Middle Road in Davenport, Iowa. Hello. Thank you for your time. I'm speaking as a graduate of Garfield Elementary, Sudlow Intermediate, Central High School, who has also done curriculum hours at Davenport West. I student taught at Davenport North, and I am a current teacher and coach at Davenport Central and a citizen of Davenport. I'm here to speak in favor of the 8th grade eligibility decision from June. I believe it's a great opportunity for our district, if nothing else, to continue to live up to those words that are all on that wall and everything that you set up there, to provide every opportunity for every child in academics, in arts, in athletics. I can speak for myself as a head coach for the boys cross country team, but I also work very closely with Coach Wendy Shaw for the girls cross country team. The growth in community in runners and success is addictive. And we've seen an incredible increase in participation and in state, in achievement, sorry. So we want to continue that. And I'm reminded, because I was thinking about the growing excellence thing, of probably my favorite quote in coaching, and it's from Steve Prefontaine, who said, "To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift." So we need to continue to allow the opportunities for these young athletes to showcase and to help cultivate their skills, no matter where they are and no matter what they might be, as long as parents, coaches agree that this is will give them the most benefit in the long run. The only thing that I would like to leave with is the question, how can I help? So thank you for your time. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Next up is the consent agenda. May I have a motion?
Madam President,
Director Hayes,
I move the board accept the consent agenda as written.
could I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. There's one more. Did I have that? I don't have it. No, that's the person who left. Are they online or here? Or? Oh, I do have it. Sorry. I'm sorry, back up, rewind. Open forum, Wendy Shaw. Sorry, didn't mean to miss you.
Wendy Shaw, 6633 Lorton Court. Sorry, I'm short. Good evening, school board members. I would like to speak on behalf of the new state law passed in June that allows 8th graders to participate in varsity sports for this upcoming school year. I was elated when this decision, as a coach, since I coached the two sports of girls track and field and cross country. Through the past 8 summers, our boys and girls cross country running program has invited many younger runners to train with us on a daily basis. In doing so, we've created a wonderful running community in the Davenport district that has trickled down from our high school and beyond into our middle school programs. This has allowed myself, along with the boys coach, to really connect with these kids, see them grow, challenge them, help them set goals, and realize their potential. We meet these individuals where they are at and help them get to where they want to be successful of what they want to achieve. They get to witness the leadership and culture of our high school athletes, and it has been amazing watching the success this has led to, especially in our junior high program. As a coach, I invest a lot of time in doing things to support and help our athletes get to where they want to be, which involves a lot of time laying out training plans, going to coaching clinics, talking to other coaches, taking kids to camps, organizing off-season training, all to help our athletes achieve their goals. Our district is one where we are meeting our young people where they are at and getting them to a better place, regardless of level of achievement. We are here to do better for them. My daughter benefited from this as an 8th grader. At that time, she got the opportunity to excel in math and science education by taking geometry in an upper level science class at Central. We have talented 8th grade musicians that get to partake as 8th graders in our high school's marching band, attending numerous rehearsals and out-of-town competitions. I commend our school district for setting the bar high and figuring out a way to let these talented, hardworking students be challenged and successful. I hope we can do the same for our 8th graders when it comes to our sports. Even though this is obviously a very small percentage of students that...
Thank you. Did we do Margaret Moeller? Apparently, I'm not real good about catching them all.
Hi, can you hear me? Yep. All right, my name is Margaret Moeller. I live at 110 McClellan Boulevard in Davenport, Iowa. My husband wrote a letter, but he can't be here today because he's traveling in Utah. But he wanted me to speak on our daughter's behalf, who is an 8th grader at Sudlow and hoping to run for Davenport Central cross-country runners this fall. He wrote, "My wife and I have 4 student athletes who have either graduated as, currently are, or should be Davenport Central Blue Devils. As they have excelled as athletes, we have heard endlessly from parents of athletes on our kids' club teams that we should transfer out of Davenport and attend Pleasant Valley or Bettendorf, anywhere but stay in our Davenport school district. We would always get upset at the insinuation and arrogant notion that we should send our kids somewhere other than the district in which we live. Having heard what the district's proposed plan is to implement, or not implement, as the case may be, the state rule change that would allow 8th grade athletes who have the ability to play varsity sports with their high school teams, it's hard not to take this transferring out of Davenport School District seriously. Our youngest child, Presley Moeller, who's going to be an 8th grader at Sudlow, has been training with the high schoolers all summer long and has done this for the last 4 years. She would likely be the varsity's number 2 or number 3 runner on her team this season, and they would probably be competitive for a chance at going to state. Coach Wendy believes that she could be a top 5 in the MAC conference by the end of this season. We heard about the rule change, and Presley was excited to run for Coach Wendy and give the Blue Devils as many quality years and teams as possible. We're now hearing that the Davenport School District has decided to strip this opportunity away for a very capable and deserving 8th grade athlete to help a less glamorous public school system compete with other high schools in our area. The state finally addressed the issue of the rich school districts getting richer and courting, recruiting, and luring away student athletes from our hallways. It is leveling the playing field for schools that struggle with numbers and competitiveness. But I guess why talk to the parents or coaches to see what is best for them? It sure doesn't seem like any consideration was taken to care for our student athletes.
Thank you. Okay, let me check one more time. I think I got everybody right. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, next up, committee reports. Breaking barriers?
It'll be rescheduled for Wednesday. It was canceled last Friday, so we'll meet again on Wednesday.
Okay. Legislative advocacy?
We met last Friday, went over our legislative priorities, and we will be reviewing those at our committee of the whole meeting in August.
LZAC? Not here. Long range facility?
Also met last Friday. We looked at the signage for Sudlow and Smart and Davenport North, and then discussed the progress being made at each of the sites. And for the most part, everything is fairly well on target.
Thank you. Policy, not for another month. Recognition not till school starts. Finance.
We will meet again, the committee will meet again this Thursday, and Kevin will present now on the monthly reports.
Take it away, Kevin.
Okay. Stacy, we can start with the monthly report. So this is where we're at when we ended May. One thing I want to note, I'm going to focus on more of the balances at the bottom of page 1. May's kind of our last of our normal months. The month of June has your normal June activity, except we have teachers' contracts paid off, that kind of thing. So it's a little bit lighter of a month. It's also our accrual month. So June's going to look a little unique. So if you scroll down just a hair further, please. There we go. You'll see that, first of all, in our general fund, you see a deficit of just over $9 million. This is not unexpected. There's a little bit of a visceral reaction to say, why are we down $9 million? But remember, our solvency was a little bit high, so we know this is going to come down. We still have a June state aid payment that's coming in with a lighter month of June, so this number should be a little bit less than that, but it's not unexpected. However, when you see that we have a $41.8 million ending balance, we're really right where we need to be financially. Sliding over to the management fund, you'll see that we're at about $16.7 million. That's a little bit higher than normal, but we're building that to make sure that we can cover our increases in our property, casualty, work comp insurance, those kind of things. So that's where that's at. And financially, we're also bringing the levy down in this new year and going forward. So that number should start to level off and come down just a little bit going forward. I also just want to note where the sales tax balance is. Remember, we're paying that. We're paying 2 bonds now going forward. So that $43 million will start to come down, and there'll be more information on sales tax now that the state has reduced the amount that we're going to be getting going forward. 43 million is a good balance, but there'll be a lot of pressure on the sales tax fund. If you scroll down to page 2, PEPL is the other fund. Between PEPL and sales tax, they kind of play off each other. With sales tax reduction from the state, you're going to see a lot more pressure on our PEPL fund. And if you scroll down just a tish more right there, we're still sitting with $19 million. That's a good balance, but we know that's going to go really fast when there's pressure on the sales tax fund. Those two are used similarly for projects. The other one to note is our other funds. That Fund 60, that is our out-of-school fund. We have some federal revenue that we haven't recognized yet, and that's a journal entry. This will be flipped to positive when we end the month of June. It's just revenue needs to get caught up as being recognized. I was disappointed on our internal service fund being $1 million down for the year. However, having a $21 million balance for our self-insurance fund is still healthy. That really indicates why when we increased our funding of this fund by 5% with our health insurance increase, you can kind of see how that comes into play. And just to mention the other fund, that was our teacher apprentice fund that we were the fiscal agent for surrounding schools. That balance, we will close that fund in the month of July or August, so that will get moved to the general fund to be spent accordingly. So that's just temporary where that balance is. So just wanted you to know that will start to go away. Any questions on where we're at with our fund balances?
Kevin, so that fund you just mentioned, those dollars came to us because we were handling the program for ourselves and the surrounding districts. And
yes, there was a lot of changes in how they were paying us throughout the last 3 years. This is a residual balance. We paid all this, the partner schools their share. This is our share that we get to keep, and we'll move that to the general fund and continue with and honoring what the grant was supposed to do, is to provide teacher apprentice for tuition and so forth, so we can grow our own in our teacher program.
But that's no longer, right? That program's done?
Correct.
The internal services, why the deficit? I mean, insurance claims went high, or what?
It's mainly the claims. That's the one variable that we don't have as much control on, and it's just where the claims are at that point in time. So it's indicative of higher claims. We don't know if that's going to continue or not, but we definitely want to keep that $20 million balance in that fund. So we're still healthy in that fund, even though that went down, but we got to be careful.
Well, we're not healthy, or we wouldn't be in a deficit.
But we still have $21 million balance.
Yes.
We don't want to grow it too high either. So it's a good balance to have, but we need to be wary.
Yes. Any other questions? Okay, I'll go on to the next one.
If not, we'll go to the key measures. This is my favorite one. You'll see that we're projected to end the year at 18.8%. We're within 1/10% of where we projected our budget. 18.8 is a really good spot to be at where our UAB is. When you look at 99.3% of our expended authority, we're getting really close to the 100%. That's a perfect sweet spot to be in so that we can stay at roughly at that 18%. And you'll see solvency. I mentioned that with our general fund being lower, you can see we're going down to 18.3%. We're almost in that perfect balance of our UAB and our solvency, which is a really good spot to be in. You'll notice that we had on our solvency, it was a little higher the prior years. That's why that amount in the general fund on the other report was coming down, because we weren't able to cash reserve. This number will come down in FY27 a little bit more, but we will have the ability in FY28 to start to cash reserve. We talked about that when we adopted our budget, our FY27 budget. So it's predictably going the direction that we anticipated. So there's no surprises on this report. Any questions on UAB or solvency?
I guess not.
Thank you.
Did a good job. Thank you. Okay, let me cross those out. Items requiring action. Google renewal 3-year agreement. May I have a motion?
Madam President,
Director Hayes.
I move the board approve the fiscal year 27 Google Workspace for education renewal in the amount of $72,063 paid to CDWG.
Could I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I would like to note that Director Potts is now online with us, so any questions about this renewal? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Interactive display, Sedlow, may I have a motion? Director Poston.
Move the board approve the purchase of 114 Mimeo displays for the new Sudlow building in the amount of $242,680 paid to Midwest Computer Products.
Second.
It's been moved in second.
Second.
Are there any questions? I have a question with chips being a problem. Is this going to be delayed in us getting it, or how fast will we get this? Or
No, excuse me. No, fortunately, the lead times we're okay with on these. I think they've probably got a warehouse somewhere that they have stock here domestically already, so they didn't have to wait to be built or anything like that. So
okay,
we're in good shape there.
great, thank you. Any other? Director Hayes.
Are these boards similar to like the whiteboards?
No, the whiteboards were essentially, just a new blackboard, but whiteboards that took the dry erase, markers. So these are, if you remember a couple years back, we did the model classroom. We kind of did a pivot from the whiteboard projector model to going to the interactive displays instead of the projectors. 3 years ago, the interactivity was kind of removed from the classroom. So we had brought it back with these displays.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up, curriculum resource purchase for high school U.S. history and U.S. government. Could I have a motion? Director Hayes.
I move the board approve the purchase of curriculum resources from SAVAS for U.S. history and government in the amount of $198,525.50 using curriculum resource funding.
Could I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Director Potts.
Are we confident that these texts are going to approach the subjects in a manner that's going to facilitate our students passing the state civics exams?
That's a great question, and that's one of the reasons why it's coming to you now and not earlier. If you remember, in the past, we had a presentation, I believe it was in March, but we wanted to wait to make sure that these curriculums matched exactly what we are asking our students to do. So that's why this curriculum's coming now, so that we can get it before the start of the school year, as the legislation has just closed.
Good.
Any other questions, Director Potts?
Did I get that right, team that's in the back? Okay.
Anybody else? Question? Director Hayes.
Has the teachers had training on these, or how is that going to roll off? Will we be ready for the start of the school year?
These materials are typically follow our implementation process, so they've been field tested. Do you want to jump in here?
Happy to comment on that. Melissa Trimble, Curriculum and Instruction Specialist for Social Studies. We have already been working with the texts as far as summer work to prepare and get assessments aligned and ready to go as far as that. And as long as we can have them in our hands, we do have plans in August then to get the people that produce the textbooks to come in and then give them their professional learning on how best to use both the online resources and the print textbooks.
Any other questions? I think this was the one, but they're actually going to be a textbook, right? Not all online. I was happy to actually see that. Anybody else?
It will have both online
Right, I saw
component
that.
as well as the print. So
Yeah. Since the state of Iowa is kind of pushing us back towards the textbook, it's like, yes, glad we planned for it. Any others? Okay, seeing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Smart gas relocation. Could I have a motion?
Madam President,
Director Hayes.
I move the board approve the Mid-America proposal to relocate the gas regulator at Frank L. Smart Middle School.
Could I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? Director Poston.
As I mentioned at the last meeting when we had this discussion, I still have a problem with this. First of all, why didn't we know this any sooner when the whole project was started? So that's my first concern. My other concern is, do we need to hold either the architects or engineers responsible for some of this? I realize it had to be moved, but not knowing ahead of time is, for me, is a problem. The other thing, we've been told that this gas line was going to be redone in 2027. So to me, Mid-America Energy is sticking it to the school district. And I don't feel, this happens numerous times where the school district is taken advantage of. And I just don't think it's right. I don't think Mid-America Energy is being very fair about this. And so I will be opposed to this.
Director Hayes.
I would certainly agree with Director Poston. Since they were going to do the work in 27 anyway, what would be the ramifications of holding off, maybe fencing it off for a year to wait if they're not going to absorb some of the costs to help us?
Well, the location of the current line is right in an area where we'll be using it around a football field and some facility usage areas for those students. So it would kind of it'd be in the way, I guess, to put it bluntly. It would be in the middle of a lot of stuff going on.
There's not like an alternative practice space just for the football season?
I mean, we would have to bus them somewhere else potentially. There's not really any space on our grounds.
I think the question that Director Hayes is asking, if we wait till 2027, then they'll have to pay for it. Right now, we are the landowner, so the city gave us the property. When the deed transferred to us, we are now the landowner, which makes us responsible for that. That's the part that Director Poston said we should have known that when we were and built it in the project. And so the moving parts there, the number of steps it takes to actually have a city give back an entire street, as we were working through those process, the misstep that we made was that we did not realize that this needed to be moved. The other unfortunate event is that they were scheduled to redo the pipe in 2027. The fact that we are the landowner, it is on our property. It's unfortunate. We've called all of the people in Mid-American Energy that we can, and this is the path that's going to go forward. If we do not move this, it will be probably on the 30-yard line of the practice field that will be reconstructed. We are using every usable space inside of the Smart property, as the property closest to 4th Street is a parking lot where it'll be a bus drop-off zone, and then there's a lane that goes around drop-off. When designing Smart, the building kind of wraps around that grass field, giving a visual on everything that occurs in that playground area. And so that's the way that it was designed, so it really can't be moved. This is the unfortunate spot that we find ourselves. I'll give Josh's, we've done everything we can to fight this, and this is where we sit. We have, I know we don't like talking about it, but we have the contingency fund. This isn't going to stop us from doing other things, but this is a big one.
Any other comments, questions? You got to have the gas regulator. I get that. The unfortunate thing, this is not only benefiting Smart. This is for the whole neighborhood area. And that's where it bothers me that they're not willing to kind of do a 50-50 split. If it was only going to benefit Smart, okay, that would have been one thing, but that is not the case. But that being said, you gotta have a gas regulator unless you want your buildings to blow up when the gas comes through, so. Kind of between a rock and a hard place, and we don't really have a choice. Any other comments, questions?
I'll just echo my sentiments from earlier. I just think Mid-America Energy is not being a very fair community partner, and shame on them.
Dr. Yankee.
Thank you. I would just say it's just disappointing that we didn't maybe catch it ahead of time. And I'm with you. Mid-American should be, being that it benefits the neighborhood as well. They should have a hand in this. I mean, especially when they're a year out from replacing it. But they're, like you said, there's not much we can do about it. And we cannot have an unsafe situation. It, as a good community partner, I mean, we take care of the neighborhood, and it's, I mean, how safe is that to have that on the 30-yard line? So, my thoughts.
Any others? Dr. Potts, got any questions, comments?
Nope.
Okay, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next up, Teach to Heal consulting contract. May I have a motion?
Madam President,
Director Hayes.
I move the board approve the renewal of the Teach to Heal contract for fiscal year 26, not to exceed $56,000.
Could I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? Courtney, can you give us just a little bit of a summary of what this is all about?
Yeah, so we will be entering our 4th year and partnering with Teach to Heal organization, and they offer relational and trauma responsive tools and systems for buildings to implement to support students who deal with chronic stress and trauma. And so we started this partnership when we developed our programs out at the Davenport Learning Center, and we've been building upon that within our comprehensive building. So last school year, SMART came on board, and Garfield Elementary, and the DLC, and those 2 buildings will continue this upcoming year, and then we'll also be bringing on Jackson and Madison Elementary.
Is this like actually like lessons that they're taught in the classroom, or is it just dealing with students when they are
Great
having
question.
difficulty?
So it teaches our educators just how to think about how their words, the words they use, and how it have impacts with specifically students, again, who deal with chronic stress and trauma. It teaches them how to create environments where learning can occur, and it does make lessons to student skill lessons. It's not specific lessons because we make that tie back to our character strong lessons that we already have, but it's giving that framework for how to implement these things.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Question, comment? Director Yankee.
Thank you. While I'm all in support of like trauma care and educating the staff and wanting to make sure that 1, it's not a burden to the staff, but 2, have we been able to measure, or are we measuring any type of changes or outcome, whether it be behaviors, whatnot?
Mm-hmm. No. So every building who elects to participate in this is directly aligned to their 90-day plans or their growing excellence plan. So that's how they're monitoring implementation and response from staff and students.
Thank you.
Yep.
Director Potts, got a question, comment?
So is this just a program, or is it individual people that we're hiring to come in and help with this?
Nope, it's a consultant and it's a framework. So it's not a boxed program. It's not something you just open and implement. It's really just professional training on how to work with students, what type of tools to use, how to create environments that they'll respond to. And then every day of learning is partnered with an on-site consultation. So then Danielle Tice comes on site with the principal and works with the principal in that individual setting to see how to best deploy the learning that they've received.
Any other?
Okay.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Discussion items, North High audio visual equipment for the new North Cafe and PAC.
So the North, New Cafe and PAC is looking to get some larger screens, such as like 96-inch screens, 86-inch screens, and some 60-inch screens for presentations in the cafe. Also, an audio system to be put in there as well. This is the line item budget we had put in here previous to the project starting. So similar to the purchase of the interactive displays for Sudlow, this is something that we planned for, but we have to put in kind of separate because we can have a little more control over what gets put in and how it gets put in. I think they plan to use these a lot for also like teacher meetings and learning sessions at North High School because they don't really have a great meeting room. Any questions?
So is the PAC getting a whole new audio system, or it just goes along with the screens that's going in there?
Yes, just along with these screens in the system, it's not really a whole new system there, but this is out in the cafe area and stuff like that.
Okay, but in the Performing Arts Center, they'll still use the audio system that they have?
I believe so.
Okay.
So we're hoping that these TVs will be used beyond just SpongeBob SquarePants during lunch.
Yeah, we're hoping for a lot of things to get used on them. So a lot of communications. I don't know how IT hooks into them exactly. That's not my world, but I'm sure a lot of communication will be going across the screens all day long. And then when we have theater things going on or student events going on, we can be displaying things. But I think one of the nicer things they also want us to be able to have a space to have teacher meetings.
Dr. Boston.
So how do you decide whether it comes out of the contingency fund or out of Pebble, any other fund? What determines that?
Actually, it's not out of the contingency. It's part of what we budgeted when we talk about below the line items. It's the furnishings and equipping of a new facility. Just like the Mimeo boards, those were planned for out of our bond. So it's part of that whole cost that we're estimating it to be. So I know this says contingency. Yeah, if we go over in certain areas in total, it will hit the contingency. But it's part of what we budgeted for below the line that is not part of the architect. We didn't want to put it in the general conditions for the general contractor and end up having a 30% markup and them to decide what they're going to do. These are the elements that we take control of so we can make sure we stretch our dollars as far as we can.
So it's actually coming from bond dollars. And
correct.
Okay.
Anybody else? Okay, will be voted on in 2 weeks. Central Fieldhouse parking lot.
So as you guys can see, a couple of buildings got torn down by Brady Street, which will allow us to increase some parking and clean up some parking areas that's in rough shape. So currently there's about, I would say 20-ish spots. Nothing's marked greatly. The parking lot's falling apart in that area. This is to hire a firm, IMEG, to do the drawings for this plan so we can put it out for bid. We're estimating the cost to be around $300,000, maybe a slightly more. And in this new parking lot, we're hoping to get around 60 to 70 spots. So over double what we currently have, and also replacing a parking lot that's in rough shape. We also left some green space in the front of the building. That way we don't have to put in retainage ponds, things like that. So this is kind of walking that fine line between you've got enough blacktop, you got to do this other stuff also. Any other questions about that?
Are we leaving the tree?
I believe the trees are going to be left unless they're dying, but I think they're okay right now.
Seems like a good idea. Any other, Director Poston?
My only comment would be is get as many parking places as you can from that area.
Appreciate it. Yep. We will try.
Make that all worthwhile.
Agree.
Any other questions? Director Potts, got anything?
No.
Okay, again, this will come up in 2 weeks. Next up, arbitrage payment. Kevin.
This is a very riveting topic. Arbitrage. I know we've talked about arbitrage in the past. Arbitrage has a very negative connotation, but I'm going to go through for everyone here to remind you what that is. This is kind of straight out of the definition page. Arbitrage refers to the practice of a school district borrowing money in the tax-exempt municipal bonds. We're talking about our first bonds that we bought in 2024. Those municipal bonds market and investing those proceeds at a higher interest rate in taxable markets to make a profit. The IRS regulates this practice to prevent entities from using tax-exempt debt merely as an investment vehicle. So what I want to use is our specific example. These are real numbers. In April of 2024, we received the first half of our bonds. We received the second half here this April of this year, but those aren't spent yet. So what we have to do is we have to go through an actuary, in this case, Baron Tate Consultant. They do all of the arbitrage measuring for the entire country. They're one of the only ones. We received $82.9 million. That was of the 75.9, we received a premium. So it was the amount of cash that we received. Our bond rate was 3.69% true interest cost. Remember, those are tax exempt. Tax exempt is a key here. When we received those funds, we invested them with IceJet, and we got an average of 5.1% true interest income from these bonds, from this money that we invested while it was idle before we had to make payments to our general contractors and architects and other entities. For this bond, we ended up receiving $5.5 million of interest income. You actually could kind of see that if you look at the years and add them up in the capital projects fund. That is other income. If you look back at some of those, you can see how that money came in year to date every year. So we did get the actuarial computation from Barron's Tate. This is the bad part. We're going to have to pay the IRS back up to an amount of $1.7 million of that interest income. What it turned out to be is we invested at a much better rate than what we had to pay in the interest. So that's what I wanted you to understand. There's context here about what we received, because it's very hard to say we have to pay the IRS back money. It wasn't that we did anything wrong. We just had enough investments, and the timing of when we had to pay for our projects was slower than what we anticipated. So we received more income than what the IRS will allow. We used our IceJet for this investment, and we had a combination of laddered CDs and a money market account, and that's how we received the 5.1% interest. The best part of all this is when we did our planning for all of these phase one projects, we did not count on any interest income. So now when we have this known amount that we have to pay, we can start planning the approximately $4.8 million of interest income for future projects. We never count on the money till we know we are secure in receiving that. And this is the point in time when we don't have to pay it back immediately, but we will, in time, in the next couple of years, we will be making a payment when that's solidified. Anytime you have tax-exempt bonds, you will always go through this calculation. This has not been a big deal prior to the last 6 years, because when interest rates were less than 1%, there was no arbitrage calculations being made, because never did it hit the scale that the IRS would get involved. But we did a really good job in our investing, and this is kind of the product of what this is. That's why I say arbitrage has a negative connotation. So it's a good and a bad all in the same time. I hope I summed that up pretty well. If you have questions.
Director Boston.
Kevin, when you say you don't have to pay it all back right away, is it quarterly, yearly payments? And
it would be one payment, but since we are reserving the funds, I think it's 5 years from now is when we have to make the payment, within 5 years, to the IRS. I would rather get it off our books when we actually know it, so it's done and out of the way.
But in that time period, we don't have to pay interest on that?
Correct.
But we could earn interest on it.
Yes.
Well, still made over $3 million, so that was a good thing.
Yeah, very much so. The important thing is we didn't plan on using any of it till we know that it was secured and able to be spent.
Do we actually vote on this, or this is the deal and we just being told that
It's an awareness, and you'll see it eventually show up at some point in time in our board bills when we make a payment. I just didn't want the shock, and now that we got the arbitrage calculation from our actuaries, that I wanted you to be aware of it instead of it just sitting out there. No, we knew what it was going to be, but we wanted to make sure that the board understood what is coming down the line in these funds, because we're through the first half. We're in the second half. We need to make sure that we stay on top of this so we know what's coming, and there's no surprises in the end.
Anybody else? Okay. Next up, superintendent's report.
Tonight, I would like to introduce our newest curriculum director for Davenport Community Schools. As many of you know, Diane Campbell resigned at the end of this school year, which was a big loss for us. She was an incredible human being, a hard worker, cared deeply about Davenport schools. But we were lucky enough to have Bernie Bruskern join our team. Bernie is a teacher, started as an elementary principal, and then in her last two positions, she's been the curriculum director for North Scott and the secondary curriculum director for Pleasant Valley Schools. Over the last month, we've watched her dedicate her additional time, taking her vacation days to come over with us, even go to University of Virginia and immerse herself in our comprehensive school visits. In her first month, she has hit the ground running. She's been interviewing principals that are still here, our high school principals. What I mean is the principals that are on 260-day contracts. Everyone's still here. Sorry about that. But she's just jumped right in. She's been a wonderful addition to our team, and matches the level of calibration that's necessary to be successful here. One of the things that I'm really excited about her leadership is she has an extensive knowledge of guaranteed and viable curriculum standards that are connected to the tests, working with our staff to really ensure that we're providing a rigorous experience for our students. And that's one of the things that most excited us most. And so, Bernie, I really want to welcome you to the Davenport Community School District. You've jumped right in and really have hit the ground running, and we're really glad to have you. So thank you for being here tonight. She rushed back from state baseball in Des Moines to make sure that she was here today, so really appreciate you doing that, Bernie. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Administrative report.
Not this time.
Board requests. Yeah, let's just skip board reflection, unless everybody really wants to do it. There's a small crowd here today. Okay, we're skipping it. Okay, we're doing board reflections. Director Poston.
Two things. First, appreciate the comments from the people that spoke at open forum, and we cannot comment on anything that's on the agenda, but I appreciate your comments. And again, my other reflection again is just my disappointment in Mid-America Energy and how they're treating the school district. And again, I think as far as being a community member and provider of services in the community, I don't think that is the way to do business.
Director Potts.
I would ditto the comments concerning the open forum, the number of people that came, the young people, the teachers. They provide a lot of good information. Second, I think we should commend ourselves for our having to pay arbitrage because we were pretty shrewd in our investments. And that'll pay dividends down the road.
Director Yonke.
Thank you. Not to sound like a broken record, but again, thank you to everyone who stepped forward and spoke. It's intimidating to come up and speak. And so, yeah, I greatly appreciate it. Wrote everything down. And while we cannot comment, have a lot of thoughts on it. And again, the arbitrage payment, that is a wonderful misfortune for us to have. So, absolutely.
Director Hayes.
I agree with everything that's been said thus far. The community support and the community opinion is very valuable. It's nice to hear that, although, like Director Poston said, we can't respond to it, but we do hear what's being said. Also, I would like to welcome our newest member to DCSD, and we look forward to working with you.
Superintendent.
I think about the central field house area and what I drove by there not too long ago, and it's just a beautiful complex. And so you picture a place where our students can go, be safe, they can have their own space for Davenport Central, and just continuing to move that forward for them is very enlightening. It's a complex that's on display for the entire community to see, and I'm incredibly proud of that. And so continuing to provide a safe environment for our kids, decent parking, and the view from the Davenport Central Athletic Facility across Brady Street Stadium is pretty impressive. And I think it's only going to continue to build the programs that we have. I did hear about travel teams that are starting to come back to that athletic facility because of the facilities that are there. So it's beginning to have an impact. Your decisions are beginning to have an impact.
I would just like to thank Kevin. 6 years ago when I got on this board, looking at finances really brought me down. And you have done such a good job of getting us to a very positive place. The fact that we earned all that interest. I appreciate everything that you do for our finances. So that being said, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.